Hi, this is Mother Mantis. I'm here to talk to you about why Mass Effect was such a great game and why, even after everything that's come out since, it still holds its own. I'm going to keep this short, and it should be obvious that a video about Mass Effect's story is going to contain spoilers, so don't say you weren't warned. If you enjoy this piece, I hope you will like and subscribe, and thank you. So Mass Effect is a video game considered by many to be one of the best ever made. But why? I mean, as sci-fi, it's fairly derivative, and the combat is fun, but it's hardly groundbreaking. Well, of course, it's the story that sets this trilogy apart. But why is the story so effective? Well, I think it's because the game sets the emotional hook in the player right away, and then builds both the character's personal stakes and the magnitude of the world threat in a steady drip throughout the rest of the whole story. The game is patient, it doesn't reveal its hand too quickly, and it provides you with teammates that you genuinely come to care about. One of the mistakes video games often make is that they fail to provide the player with sufficient motive right away. This game does not make that mistake. The opening scenes of Mass Effect 1 give you just enough historical information that you know the sort of person Shepard is, and you are Shepard. The game positions you, both as a character and a human being, in a galactic society that doesn't think very much of humans. You're an underdog. You have some experience, but you're not in charge. You're not the world's greatest hero. You have to prove yourself still. A threat emerges, there are questions to be answered, and you're given the lead on investigating it. A need to personally prove yourself, an open threat, solid motivators to move the story forward right from the get-go, and the game continues doing this all the way through. Building Shepard's character and informing the player about Shepard's sense of honor in such a way that it's inevitable that this character will take on the burden of leadership and sacrifice. Shepard's companions are just as important. Plenty of games have companions, but not very many feature characters that are as interesting and enduring as Mass Effect. The dialogue feels natural and engaging, the loyalty missions help you learn about other characters' pasts and help you understand the way these characters see you. Your actions are meaningful and impactful, and the game addresses big topics. It's got racism, political maneuvering, honor, diplomacy, the need to work together for the betterment of all, how small we are in the universe, the meaning of human life, and even what defines the meaning of life and is therefore worthy of respect and decency. And we, as humans, we're not the apex species in this galaxy. We're just one of a lot of different species that have their own cultural histories and belief systems that are genuinely interesting on their own merit. Storytelling deepens the context of how we experience video games, and a video game with a great story has the potential to speak to the human experience as much as a film or novel does. And one thing that even the best novel cannot do is offer you ownership in story direction. Yes, it's just the perception of ownership because the game has finite avenues with which to move the plot forward, but perception is powerful. You cannot own the moments in a book the way you feel you can in a game. You can argue whether or not your choices really mattered to the ending of the trilogy, but in the details of your experiences spanning over 3 games, they definitely did. How you respond to various things changes how other characters perceive and treat you. Given that the story has a narrative structure and a fairly linear direction that it needs to keep moving forward, it offers the player a significant feeling of personal investment. There are other games I've loved and many that I've sunk more hours into than Mass Effect, but very few that I come back to, like I do this one, with companions that I genuinely feel attached to and have affection for. One of the reasons I think people hated the ending of Mass Effect 3 so much is precisely because the story had been so effective. Here's what I mean. From a story structure standpoint, having your protagonist die saving the world is a solid choice. Once a character has fulfilled its purpose, its character arc is complete. There's nowhere else to go, story-wise, with that character. So having that hero go out at the height of their youth and power, forever immortalized at their most significant moment, it's a respectful choice, because no one really wants their story heroes hanging around aging. We prefer them frozen in time at the apex of their power, and that works in books and film. But because of the interactivity of gaming, there's an aspect to games that just doesn't exist in books, and that is that when we talk about a book we loved, we say, the character did this or that. But when we talk about a game we love, we say, I did this or that. Once you play, it becomes your story. We feel things differently when they happen to us. We do want Shepard to have the happy ever after because we are Shepard. I think the fact that a lot of people rejected that ending is because it's not just a beloved game character, it's our character, it's us. Games fail when the game is beautiful, but there's no particular reason to care about the characters in the world. This is why, for instance, Andromeda, which had good combat and a beautiful world setting, had such a problem. The player just isn't sufficiently invested in the protagonist, and in fact, the protagonist's father is a more compelling character, and he's out of the picture right from the get-go. But the Mass Effect Trilogy always gives players an emotional reason to keep moving forward, a threat consequential enough for players to make sacrifices for, and a set of supporting characters that are dynamic and fully realized companions that you genuinely care about. And when a video game can be both fun and occasionally move you to tears, it's art. There's too few AAA games that achieve this, and even few that even try anymore. And that's, in my opinion, what makes Effect still a standout even 9 years after the third game was released. Thanks for watching.
I'm a scientist Solarian. I've studied species Turian, Asari, and Batarian. I'm quite good at genetics as a subset of biology because I am an expert, which I know is a tautology.